So I've been studying plagiarism since I wrote my dissertation on the subject in 2007. My dissertation was really the first study ever done on professional plagiarism. Our ICA study on plagiarism then was an extension of a project that I did with my colleague, Dr. Bujong of Penn State. In that project, we surveyed American journalists on their attitudes toward plagiarism. We found that U.S. journalists generally endorse attribution, but disagreed on the details. For example, they were unclear whether or not a press release should be attributed, but they were pretty much in agreement that their own work should be attributed. Also, we found a difference between media. We found that broadcasters were less likely than their colleagues to believe that material required attribution. So for the ICA project, we extended that very same study to China. China is, of course, a very fast-changing country where all media is controlled by the government. So we wanted to know if journalists in China thought differently about attribution than did their counterparts in the United States. We thought that China might be different because of the state control and the fact that it's in a very strong culture where collectivism encourages shared ownership. What we found, though, surprised us. We found that there were really no differences between journalists in China and the United States in their attitudes about plagiarism. In fact, Chinese journalists were slightly more likely to believe that attribution should be a professional standard than did U.S. journalists. Our conclusion is that journalism ethics has a global nature that transcends culture. The fact that attribution beliefs varied little between the two nations, despite the obvious differences in China, suggests that ethics has been globalized.